Themistocles was so carried away by his desire for recognition and so passionately longed to achieve something important, that is, he was so ambitious, that while he was still young, when the generalship of Miltiades was the talk of the town after the Battle of Marathon against the Persians, he could very often be found wrapped up in his own thoughts, and he lay awake at night and turned down opportunities for carousing, as was his usual habit. And when people expressed surprise at this change in his life and asked him about it, he told them that Miltiades' trophy would not let him sleep. In other words, the victory at Marathon would not let Themistocles sleep. And Plutarch says, for while everyone else thought that the Persian defeat at Marathon was the end of the war, Themistocles saw it as the start of a greater contest. And he therefore set about oiling himself and training his city to champion all Greece, since he looked far into the future and saw what was to come. The first consequence of this was that although the Athenians were accustomed to distribute among themselves the revenue from the silver mines at Larium, Themistocles was the only one who dared to come forward in the assembly and argue that they had to stop the distribution. He proposed that they should use the money from the mines to build a fleet for the war against the Aeginetans, which was the most intense war being fought in Greece at the time, and in which the Aeginetans had control of the seas, thanks to the size of their fleet. And he opportunistically made use of the bitterness of his fellow citizens' rivalry with Aegina as a way of getting the fleet built. The money from Larium went towards the construction of 100 triremes, which were also used in the war at sea against Xerxes. Now, just as a quick sidebar, it took everything for me not to title this entire recording The Trophy of Miltiades, because as we see, and as we're going to see even more, the inability to rest content with the Trophy of Miltiades, which is to say the defeat of the Persians at Marathon, is a really beautiful image for what sets Themistocles into motion to move Athens in the direction of greatness that ends up having such a powerful influence on none other than Thucydides. And so we can say in a kind of condensed way that the trophy of Miltiades and the refusal to allow it to be enough is ultimately the source of the greatness that becomes Greekness, according to Thucydides. It's what separates the Greeks of Thucydides' time from all other earlier Greeks. And in particular, going back to the very opening paragraph, it's the source of the Athenians being at their highest preparation for the war. And to repeat, that also means it's the source of the Athenians being at their height of peace, which is to say the period of time in which mind has been afforded enough rest from the ceaseless flux of all the human and non-human motions such that it can master them through various kinds of techne and most reveal itself through those various techne. And at the same time, notice that it's Themistocles' daring that shows itself in relationship to those techne that is itself going to destabilize the rest that mind has achieved in mastering those various human and non-human motions. And there's the universal from within the particular that Thucydides has laid claim to in that opening paragraph that his text, the Peloponnesian War, is in the process of justifying. And now skipping ahead just a little bit in the life of Themistocles and Plutarch still, so that we can understand that meaning of the great powers that united all the Greeks for distant expeditions that Thucydides spoke of in paragraph 15 that we're still in